Hey folks, it's Patriot Nurse. There will be nowhere left to run. That is, if the Trump administration gets their way in regards to AI and data center building. Even if you don't care anything about ChatGPT, and even if you don't think this will touch you, if you ever hope to be a property owner or have clean water to drink, this is going to directly affect you. Let's talk about it. So friends, artificial intelligence is here to stay. Now, whether or not you think it's a total Ponzi scheme or the Lehman Brothers of today, it is here. Now, the issue is, could our founding fathers have envisioned such a thing, and did they intend for our government to still function and for the rights of the citizenry to be protected, even if technology such as AI came onto the scene? The answer is yes. Now, specifically, the founding fathers, and more specifically, the anti-federalists, insisted upon 10 amendments to the Constitution known as the Bill of Rights to ensure that we as individuals, citizens, maintain rights against our government. So how does all of this play into the AI wars and artificial intelligence and what the Trump administration has been pushing for? So the first thing that we need to contextualize is what these data centers are doing. And are you truly safe if you live in the sticks? The answer is no. Whether you live in Texas or Virginia or West Virginia, Tennessee, data centers are being built all over the nation. And one of the things that they require is water. They also require, by the way, electricity, which we'll get into. But one of the ways that data centers have been able to essentially function and get into the good graces of governments is by making all these promises about the jobs that they're going to bring in, which is a total farce. It's not true. They don't create jobs. Any type of jobs that they do create are temporary and construction related in origin. And most of the time, when they are being built in these rural areas, by the way, where people want to escape the loud noise of city centers, the noise that, by the way, these data centers bring with them, and it's droning on forever and you can never escape from it. The reason why people live in rural areas in the first place is so they won't be bothered by the encroachment of big tech and of big government. But it is coming, especially if the Trump administration gets their way. So as these AI centers and data centers are being built, they, in many cases, are drilling down, because they have deep pockets, they are drilling down into the water table further than most people can afford to. Because I don't know if you have ever tried to sink a well before, but it adds up real quick. The deeper that you have to drill, the more it costs to get your water. So what's happening is a lot of these data centers are drilling down and they're just soaking up the water from these local areas. And then it leaves the citizenry, the property owners, the locals, literally high and dry. And they have to, if they have the money, dig down lower and lower and lower to try and get some type of water from the water table, which has now fallen because the AI data centers are using it. Now, there's another aspect of this, which is energy. And a lot of people have noticed that regardless of where they live, even if it's in the sticks, if there has been a data center that has been built in proximity, their electrical rates and their utility bills have gone up. And there's a reason for this, because a lot of these data centers get real sweetheart deals with the local governments. They get subsidized electricity. And who is subsidizing it? You, the taxpayer. You, the person who's living in that area, utilizing the utilities. You are paying for these multi-billion-dollar corporations to have super cheap electricity. And oh, by the way, in many cases, these same data centers and the companies that build them get sweetheart deals so that, guess what? They pay zero or significantly reduced property tax for an extended period of time. Meanwhile, you, as the property owner in rural area, your property taxes are going up. So how does the Trump administration handle this? Rather than looking to the wisdom of the founding fathers and the 10th Amendment, which is that the states, the local governments, are responsible for everything that's not specifically and narrowly defined as the parameters of the federal government. No, the Trump administration has come out swinging full force that they want to completely overhaul and step on the rights of the states to defend their citizenry against all of these problems coming in with data centers being built. They want no states' rights, complete abrogation of the 10th Amendment. And this is really kind of a King George move. And let me tell you why you should really be concerned about this if you care, A, about clean water, B, about electricity, C, about property rights, and D, about not repeating the mistakes of history. Back up to the American Revolution and what led up to the American Revolution. King George, right? King George III and the colonists had this kind of row going on, and ultimately we ended up fighting the British, throwing them off. But there's a whole lot more backstory to this. One of the reasons why taxes were being raised on the colonists, taxation without representation, is because the British had gotten done citing a bunch of wars that they had really sunk a lot of money into. The coffers were low and they're like, we got to get our tax revenue. So what are we going to do? We're going to tax those colonists over there. But they did it in many different ways. One of the ways that they did this, see if this rings a bell in relation to the data centers, artificial intelligence sweetheart deals that are coming about. One of the ways that this happened was that the Crown granted the East India Company a monopoly. That's right, specifically for importing tea, amongst other things. They granted this company an oligarchical monopoly. So that way, the colonists were not only required to import tea from this company, but also they were being taxed for it. So when we consider that the Crown, i.e. the government, you can substitute the federal government, granted monopoly and was protecting the business interests of these companies to the overall detriment and the tax burden increase of the citizenry, we can see direct correlations now. And oh, by the way, if we don't have a 10th Amendment where the states can protect their people against the encroach of these problems and can better regulate these systems to, again, protect and safeguard the life, liberty, and property of the citizenry, if we don't have a 10th Amendment anymore, Mr. President, then you totally pulled a King George and now we have taxation, oligarchical subsidization of these companies without representation. So friends, if the administration gets their way on this one, there ain't going to be nowhere for you to run. This idea of you going into 5, 10 acres, 20, 30 acres and hoping that you're going to be left alone in rural America, that's going to be gone. Because where these companies are building these data centers, they are picking areas that are low in regulation, that have low tax burdens, and that they can basically offer and throw a few pennies at these local commissions and these local county governments and hope that it just sticks. Making lies and telling that there's not going to be any type of environmental impacts, and not even from a Greenpeace type of environmental impacts. I'm talking about just water availability for the people who live there. Electricity being affordable and not jacked up. Can you imagine such a travesty and such a violation of people's rights, their property rights, that the water that they have right to somehow is being superseded and abrogated by a corporate entity that is not required to pay property tax in many cases, that has a sweetheart deal with the electrical company and now is stealing their water. And you have no way to fix it, no way to redress your grievances with your government because Washington has squashed your 10th Amendment. Absolutely not. So, friends, you should care about this. If you care about freedom, property rights, and not repeating the mistakes of history, then you really should be advocating at your local level and at your state levels that the states kick the Fed in the teeth on this one. I find it interesting that the current administration is using the boogeyman of Chinese supremacy in this particular case to effectively quash the rights of the citizenry. Listen, Mr. President, and those up there in federal land, none of this stuff matters with China if your local citizens don't have water. And if they can't stay in their homes because their property taxes have been driven up so that they could subsidize the invasion of their counties and the overall replacement of their labor through artificial intelligence. None of this stuff matters. None of these, effectively, none of the King George payback for the foreign wars, none of this stuff matters if your basic needs are not taken care of and your property rights and your liberties are being quashed. That is why we have the Bill of Rights, the first 10 amendments to the Constitution. These are rights that we are entitled to against our government, and specifically in this point, against the incestuous nexus of corporate oligarchical interests with the federal government. This should be fought. The states under the 10th Amendment have the purview to regulate artificial intelligence and the data centers that are encroaching upon their citizens' territories and properties, not the federal government. So friends, I hope this video lit a fire under your rear end. If you care about freedom and if you care about property rights, you cannot be in support of this move for the federal government to strip the rights of the states that lawfully are there under the 10th Amendment. And that is the good purview of constitutional government for the states to regulate these data centers, to protect the property rights of their citizens. If this lit a fire under you, please share this with one person and get the word out. Friends, this thing is coming fast. And whether it is your land rights being taken away, your property rights being aggregated, or your labor downright being replaced by this, we should not be cool with the feds saying, we got this. Sucks for you. You don't have any ability to talk to your state and local governments to fix this. We got this. Absolutely not. We fought a revolution over this almost exact thing before. And if the Trump administration doesn't want violence in the streets, they need to start listening to people because their overall approval rate is in the toilet. I'm really thrilled that you're getting rid of the illegals. And I'm very happy that you got RFK managing things and reining in these vaccine companies and big pharmas. But if you do all of this that you're saying you're going to do, Mr. President, and you're subjugating people under the oppressive thumb and tyranny of oligarchical feudalism, you're not going to have the support of the people, Mr. President. I hope this video was a helpful one for you all, and I hope that you have a great week. May the Lord bless you and keep you. For now, it's Patriot Nurse signing off, and I'll see y'all later. Bye.